3, 2, 1, here we go. 5 months ago, I decided that I was going to invest about $200,000 into content for a website I had that was about 1 year old in a real concerted effort to grow the organic traffic, right? Ultimately building an authority site. So now 5 months in, I figured it'd be time to make another video covering the progress, what has been done, and where things are going on the site. So I started with this video back here, blog progress year 1, $30,000 spent on content. That's how much I'd spent on content in the first year. And basically, it was just kind of a content dump. There was no concerted effort behind it. We were just publishing random stuff on the topic of the blog, right? Now, going forward, this was going to be more of a concerted effort with keyword research, a lot of planning and all that. Now, I said spending $200,000 in the next 3 months, that was my goal, and I've spent a ton of money into it, about $50,000 so far, but nowhere close to the $200,000 in 3 months. It's very hard to spend $200,000 in 3 months on content, I've found. So, anyways, let's talk about what has actually gotten accomplished here. Let's expand that, and here we go. Now, what I was doing was I was kind of breaking things up and classifying things as either standard blog posts. These would be about 1,500 words. They might have a couple stock images that have been edited a little bit, in long form posts. And these long form posts, they were to be about 3,000 to 8,000 words. I think we have one that's up around 9 or 10,000. And the writing quality was supposed to be higher, or it is higher. I shouldn't say it's supposed to be, but the plan was to be higher, and we have followed that plan. But with the standard post, we were paying about 4 cents a word. Long form posts, we were paying about 10 cents a word, right? And with the long form posts, they were also getting these custom graphics. So they were truly a cornerstone, skyscraper piece of content, you could say. They were, they're decked out with custom graphics. They had a lot of original research, etc. going into them. We were spending a lot of money on them, right? So all in all, you can see we published, this quantity of posts, July 14 posts. July really doesn't count because it was kind of like the end of the month when we started this. So August, September, October, November, December. Busiest month was September, or August and September. Then you see we've slowed down a little bit. And then also with the long form posts, we've kind of slowed down, well, to 0 on those. I'll talk about that in a second. Otherwise, as far as the cost, you can see our cost between writing, formatting, and stock graphics here each month. So the highest spending month was September. Coincidentally, that's the month we published the most standard posts, $8,500, and then custom graphics. Now, you might notice that we're still spending, even though we're not doing any long form posts, we're still spending $1,900, $2,000 a month on custom graphics. And basically what I've done is I've found that, we kind of went for the really, not high competition, but high search volume topics first here with these long forms, right? And then as we're, getting down into the lower search volume, and when I say lower search volume, some of these higher volume ones were like 60,000 a month. Down as we get further down the list of long form topics, the volume is only like 2,000 or 3,000 a month. So we're just basically kind of going with the standard 1,500 word post, but we are getting more graphics in that 1,500 word post. Or relative to the total word count, we're getting more graphics in there. They have the same about the same number of graphics between an 8,000 word post and a 1,500 word post. So we're still doing the long form-esque style topics, but we're just not going as long form on the content. I think naturally the next question is, well, is that because I'm not seeing any return on the very long form pieces? And it's kind of hard to say. I guess I don't really know yet. I will say that the long form pieces that we've done on very high volume topics have been indexed quite well, like into the top 30 for them, but they haven't really gotten to page 1. So it's like they're getting somewhere, but they're not quite getting all the way there. All right, so that's why I'm not really making the investment, into, say, a 5,000 word piece for something that has lower search volume when we could condense it into 1,500 or maybe 2,000 words and then just do it really nicely with custom graphics. So yeah, so all in all, for those first 5 months here, I guess including July, we've spent $50,124 on content. So what are we getting for that content? Well, let's take a look here at SEMrush. SEMrush, and this, if we're being grammatically correct, would be one word. You can see the trend, it's positive. So it would be right around here that we started spending this money and investing in content. And since then, we've basically about doubled our search traffic as indicated by SEMrush. Now, also in SEMrush, you can see the keywords that we're ranking for. And what we see here are a lot of low difficulty keyword scores. So I have a whole video on keyword research right here.
Grow your business with Wix e-commerce.
But I'll link to it so you could go watch it. And what I'm seeing here is that we're doing well with the keyword research and ultimately targeting topics or keywords that we can rank for. And you can see that, right? Like, we're not getting a bunch of random rankings here. We are concertedly coming in these kind of yellow sub 40 keyword difficulties. And this is strategic. These are all topics. And if we had the keyword list here, I'm not showing you the keyword list, mind you that. But if we had that list here, you would see that we've clearly got one well-defined piece of content for that keyword. So the keyword strategy is working. And then in Google Search Console, the trend of search impressions is positive. So it would be right around here that we started doing it, or started publishing this content. And well, here we are. Now, that said, the fall months is kind of the Achilles heel of this niche. And you can see back here, we kind of started off a little bit of growth, and then we kind of fizzled out. It wasn't until January when, boom, we took off, right? And then in the summer, things kind of slowed down, and then, we had the spruce up of content, this injection of content where things started growing again. But ultimately, as we got closer to the holidays, things kind of fizzled out. Now, getting here into January, as we get the holidays behind us, we do have a little bit of a upward trajectory so far, and I'm pretty confident that this is going to continue and we are going to see record growth. But not all that glitters is gold. What do I mean? Well, what I just showed you here are vanity metrics. This is traffic as estimated by SEMrush. That is really irrelevant to it, and this is just search impressions. What we really need to look at is the actual traffic to the website. And once you have a substantial amount of traffic, how much of that's actually turning into revenue? So if we look at traffic and we put clicks on our site, we can see that clicks is actually declining. So this purple line here is search impressions, right? How many people are seeing our site in Google search? Blue line is how many people are actually clicking it. And we've actually been on the decline. So if you say that we started right around here, our trend has been negative, really, in clicks to our website, and the trend of search impressions has been positive. So we're making more impressions, but fewer and fewer people are clicking on them. So what does that tell me? Well, that's kind of hard to really derive anything other than saying, we're showing up better in the searches, but we're getting fewer clicks. Is that a result of something we're doing, or is that a result of just market conditions? For the moment, I'm just going to go with market conditions because we really don't have a big enough sample size to analyze anything. You can see here as we head into January, we do have a strong spike up trend. So I think that this is going to continue and clicks are going to kind of come back. As I've said in the fall, the market is weaker in this niche. So people are maybe searching for it, but they're not really clicking around. The other thing too is, maybe some of our older search rankings and for keywords that we're, really not concerned with and they had no monetizable value. Because that was kind of where all this stuff was coming from here. It was coming from keywords that we really didn't have any monetizable value behind. We really couldn't monetize. Maybe some of those rankings are falling off and we're getting the impressions for the keywords that we're now actively targeting. But again, we're not high enough up to actually get the clicks. Because there's a huge difference between being in the top 3 on page 1 and being, in the bottom 3 on page 1. The top 3 on page 1 gets a ton of clicks. The bottom 3 doesn't really get any. Now, SEMrush shows us as going up in search traffic when in reality we have actually been declining in search traffic. So why is that? Well, SEMrush is just kind of an estimate based on average search volume over the past year. Yeah, they do, I think, try to show monthly trends, but they don't really capture it and reflect it accurately in their data. So, SEMrush just says, oh, hey, they're ranking higher for this keyword, which gets average search volume of this, and that's what they're getting. But in reality, at this time of the year, this, last 6 months of the year that we've really been looking at this, we are on the downside of averages. So that's why there's such a huge discrepancy between SEMrush and what is actually happening. And I think that speaks volume, because a lot of times, myself included, we get in this habit of living and dying by SEMrush. We'll open up a website and be like, wow, they're doing so great, I want to knock off what they're doing, when in reality, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're doing so great. So yeah, SEMrush is going up when in actuality our traffic is going down. So going forward, what is my plan here? Am I going to keep publishing content and all that? Well, first of all, I have to say it is incredibly difficult to keep publishing content and not seeing a return on it. You know, we got the number here, a little over $50,000 on content ultimately to get no return. I've got no monetization on the website. And you know, I probably won't get into monetizing it for a while. I mean, I really don't see a need to, I shouldn't say I don't see a need, right? There is some traffic here to monetize, but it's just not really worth my time to spend hours or days or weeks getting into monetizing the website for the relatively low amount of traffic that we have. But anyways, what I was gonna say is, if I were to put $50,000 into paid ads, I would know if I'm getting a return. I mean, I would stop spending that money before I get a return. As a general rule of thumb, I would say that $2,000 would be the maximum. If I'm going to invest into paid ads, I'm going to put $2,000 into one offer. Either it starts breaking even with that number, or we stop running it, right? So, you know, if you do the math on that, I could have ran 25 or tested 25 different offers for what I have here. And one thing that, you know, you don't really see unless you've gotten into paid advertising or you've listened to me is there's this incredible scale behind a winner, right? So if you run a bunch of different offers and you have one winner, that one winner can just fucking roll, like literally can just go, right? Like you might spend $10,000 to test, you know, 5 different offers. Actually, fuck it, you spend $50,000 to test 25 offers. If you have one, you can scale that one winner up, that one thing that everybody wants. You just turn your budget up and literally just crank in the money, and that's gonna kind of drown out all of the others. So, you know, at my core, it's probably hurting the mic there, but at my core, I am still a paid advertiser through and through. That said, I am going to keep following through on this. $200,000 in 3 months, well, that's already behind us. But at this pace right here where I'm spending, I don't know what my average is. My average is probably about $8,000 a month because we have this one high month. But I plan to spend about $7,000 to $8,000 a month here, maybe a little bit more on content. December is always kind of a hard month because no one really wants to work. The writers don't really want to work. I don't want to work, etc. You know, everything just kind of slows down. So with December being a slow month, I plan for January, and I'm on track because right at the end of December, right before New Year's, I started pushing to get a bunch more content in queue and ordered up and just kind of in process to get rolling. And I'll be paying the bill on that when it's completed in January, and I already have started paying the bill on it. We should get this number back up to 7,000 to 8,000, and you know, like I said, maybe a little bit more. So I'm going to keep pushing forward on this, and I plan on spending about that amount of money, you know, upwards of 7,000, 7 to 8, maybe a little bit more through August. I want to run through a full 1-year cycle of this to see ultimately what the returns are here, and hopefully, you know, hopefully the purple line trajectory continues, and hopefully the blue line continues and follow along. So guys, that's a wrap on this video. Month 5, that's where I'm at on this content investment into ultimately building an authority site. I'm signing off on this one.